Welcome, Freedom Nation. It's Jeff here, and I've got Chris Anderson with me today. Chris is the CEO of Elevate Media Group, and he is a podcast consultant, a podcaster, and is really building a legacy for his family. So welcome to the show, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I am so excited to have you on. Really looking forward to learning a little bit about how you got to where you're at. So why don't we kick it off
Sure.
with your story? How did you get to where you're at today?
Wow. Yeah. Where do we begin with that? That's a loaded one. I guess where to start. Elevate is a couple years old, and it started through me getting my ego and pride out of the way because I wanted to start a business. And I quit my job in 2020, right when the pandemic hit in Indiana. It's perfect
Good
time, right?
planning. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't want any income coming in during that time or anything. So,
Of course, you
but I
were
had
a
no business
trainer
experience.
anyhow, so it
Yeah,
didn't
I
help.
I I no business experience. I was an athletic trainer before, so I wasn't really making that much anyways, just spent a lot of hours, but, so, I guess let's take a step back. Athletic training, why did I even
Mm,
decide to do that in the first place? And it has a lot to do with my upbringing and just my drive to make a difference and help
mm,
people, and I know a lot of people have that same desire, and mine's always been, how can I do what I'm doing day in and day out, but leave people a little bit better than they were. And I was like, oh, athletes, students, like they're at an age because I knew where I was at that age. Like they're at an age that positive influence, positive motivation in their lives could be huge, critical.
mhm.
And so I started down that journey and I loved it. I got married 2016 and started then really get into personal development, professional development, how to build business. And my eyes started being open to what else could be
Mm.
out there. What else could I do with my life? And then I really started athletic training is great. I get to make an impact, but it's only so much.
Yeah.
And I have spent a lot of time at work when now I have a responsibility to my wife and to
Mhm.
lead the home and eventually kids, which now we have. And so that it just really started playing in my head. Is this really what I want? Is this what do I really want? Life's short already.
Mm.
After we got married, we had a handful, basically all our grandparents passed away, all the living ones we
Mm.
had in the next 3 years. We lost all our remaining grandparents, and other people had passed away, and it's just really, like, life is short, like,
Yeah.
a lot of those were unexpected, and so it's we don't know when our time is, and so spending more time at work, late nights, early mornings, 2-a-days, treatments, I was like, "There's gotta be more." And so
Mm.
I really started praying about it. Faith is a big part of my journey, and just felt the call to start my own business. Didn't know what that looked like, didn't know how, and fast forward to 2020, finally got the call and the push enough to feel like it was time. And
Mm.
so started that journey, wanted to help people do the same thing, take that leap, build something, but I hadn't done it yet. So there was that
Mhm.
disconnect. So I was just basically going on learning. Savings was dwindling and faith was growing. Savings was dwindling. We had good and bad there. But yeah, I got to the point where it's look what people are doing. Like your podcast has been going to, since 2019. It's been doing
Mhm.
well. You're in the top percentage globally listened to. Things are happening. So people started
Yeah.
asking, hey, how do you do that? How do you grow? And I didn't want to do anything in the podcasting space. So like when I started, I was like, no, why that? And I finally was like, wait, look what has been given to you. This is
Mhm.
an opportunity for you to come alongside other people who have a story to share, who have motivation, inspiration, knowledge to share with the world and make a difference. And you could be a part of that. So
Mhm.
you can be a drop in their bucket that ripples out into multiple people. I was like, okay, and get Chris out of the way, then into what I've been good at, what I've done, and take what I've learned now and put it all together. And so that's what I
Mhm.
did, started Elevate, and it's been growing ever since. And super grateful for what it's provided so far and what it's going to continue to provide as we keep pushing forward. And yeah, I guess that's a long short of the whole
The
journey to
long
today,
story short,
really.
I'd say it's
Yeah.
such a great story. So let's talk a little bit about Elevate. So what is it exactly that you do in that space?
Yeah, we come alongside mainly online coaches who are more
Mhm.
solidified. We say 6 to 7 figure business owners who are ready to take that next step in
Mm.
sharing their story with the world, sharing their expertise, getting out there in front of more people through video podcasting.
Mm.
And so we will help them launch their own shows. We do a lot of the legwork work for them so they don't have to spend a lot of hours because they're already busy enough.
Mhm.
And then once they record, we do post recording production. So we take the video files, the audio files, edit them, and then create micro video content that then they can share on social media within their marketing strategies. And again, do it for them so they don't have to spend
Hmm.
the hours and hours getting that all done. And we're actually recently, this is a pretty exciting thing, is starting to do in person, on location recordings for
Hmm.
brands and businesses where
Okay.
we'll come show up, or they can come to us and we can record in person interviews for them or training modules for them on location. So that's something we're adding to our ability to do at a very high level.
Yeah.
So we're excited to do that. I like being on set on those things because, yeah, I like meeting new people, being in person with people. So it's a fun addition we're doing.
I could see as now we're back into the world of conferences
Hmm.
and things like that, you can easily kind of hook up with one of these folks that's at a conference and maybe speaking
Yeah.
and instantly record a season of stuff right then and there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I think that's a cool service, especially for someone that's a busy coach that
Mm.
is successful, but they just know that they need to add that next level. Because so many people today, I think it's getting your message out there and having that continual message be out there to get your point across to a lot of
Yep.
people and be on
For sure.
whatever media you could be on.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
So,
it's a pivotal part to build trust on video, and for these brands and businesses, like, it's needed in our world now, even
mhm.
more so because everyone's online so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got even more video channels today than used to be. It used to be YouTube, and that was pretty much it. And then you had a few of its
Yep.
competitors, but every social media channel now has got some kind of video exposure and is really pressing it. There's
Yeah.
that has to be almost your primary or what you lead with in most
Yep,
cases.
for
Now,
sure.
when you look at somebody that, let's say I'm a successful coach, I'm looking to add this in. What does that process look like from your perspective of launching a video channel or whatever?
Yeah, so a lot of these, obviously, individuals, these businesses, they already have their brand set up. They've got
Yeah.
that kind of look, feel already figured out. So we get to take that, what that brand style guide is, and implement it into our process of creating them their video intro and outro, audio intro and outro, their templates to use for social media, where they can also take it and create their own as well, a part of
Hmm.
what from what we're doing. So we get that all created. We work and get them set up on the back end in their podcast host site, which is where we can then upload their audios to get out, put out into the podcast universe. And then we get them in all the directories. So your directories are Apple,
Hmm.
Spotify, Podcast, Pandora, all those. So we do that all in the back end, get that all done for them. And then, yeah, once we have all that solidified, we consult them on, hey, this is what your setup looks like right now on camera. Here are some tips that you could implement right now with what you have
Hmm.
to improve that. And then here's the next kind of level that you're looking at going towards when you want to invest a little bit more into your location of where you're shooting.
Hmm. Awesome. And then ongoing, is this typically like a subscription service that you're doing with them?
Yeah, pretty much most clients do a month to month package. Very few ever do the year, like a year at a time, which
Hmm.
is just simpler for a lot of people. So month to month. And yeah, we have an online dashboard. They submit their files for their episodes, and then we take them and we do the rest, and they get all the content back. Their episodes are scheduled. And we even have a package where we can reach out to the guests as well, and let the guests know it's live with links and all the content as well.
Nice. That's fantastic. And that's a service that a lot of us need. I'm just thinking myself, I've got 4 different channels. We've got a couple different messages that we put out on those different channels. And just if you interview a guest, just even letting them know, hey, this is up and running. And we've done the video podcast on one channel, the audio podcast on other things, and trying to get it in front of people or to make sure that they know that it's even out and about. So that's
Yeah.
even a wonderful service there. What are the things that you attribute a successful podcast to? When somebody is getting out there, getting it launched, what are some of the keys to success? What gets the downloads or what gets the views?
Yeah, the one big thing is just obviously being yourself. Because one, it
Hmm.
comes across as natural. It's easier. You'll be able to stay with that better than if you're trying to pretend to be someone else on camera. So
Hmm.
that's the first thing. And then the second is just making sure you understand your audience and their needs and what they want. What are they looking for? What do they want you to provide information for? and really hone in on that. So
Mm,
that you collect data from them. You can go reach out, say, "Hey, this is what we're thinking about doing, XYZ topic. Would that be a benefit, like, to you if you're to listen?" And just take that feedback and run with it and incorporate that into what you do. That's a big part because if you're not putting out what people want, then
mhm.
they're not gonna tune in. It could be what you think is great and what you wanna
Yeah.
do, but if no one else wants to listen to that, then you're just talking to no one. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing, and some people go back and forth or you hear all over the place, is audio. Making sure you have good audio. And even with the video podcast, we say make sure your audio quality is the best you can do first because have more grace with video quality, but when the audio quality is off or isn't there, that presents a bigger problem. More people will leave or not tune in because listening to it just irritates them or whatever it might be. So that
Mhm.
would be the last thing is just focus on really good audio quality to begin with and then improve everything from there.
Yeah. Now, in your world, you mostly do video podcast. Are
Mhm.
you uploading those onto the podcast channels as video?
No, so we take the full
Okay.
audio file, the episode, and do that uploaded. And then most of our clients, because they want a certain schedule on their YouTube, they'll upload the YouTube video.
Okay. That's what I was trying to figure out because I know a lot of those channels can, and in the past, I had run a video podcast on the podcast channels and we never seem to get traction because it seems
Yeah.
like people are like, I'm on the podcast, I'm listening to a podcast, I want to listen. I'm
Mhm.
not wanting to watch. I'm
Yep.
doing other things. And then if I'm watching YouTube, I don't want audio. I want video. I want to see you
Yeah. Yep.
at that point.
100%. Yep. And we do it because the future is video again, because
Yeah.
everyone can do audio. And then
Mhm.
those who step up their game and do video are going to build better connections and things of that nature. But then also with the video, you record one thing,
Mhm.
one video file, we can take the audio from that. And then, of course, on top, even if you're doing it yourself, you can take the audio from the video file and use it as a
Mhm.
podcast, the video for YouTube, and then you can have the video for micro video content. Then you can take the transcript and you can take quotes if you're doing quote cards or carousels. You can take top three things you learned. So one recording amasses a great amount of content for you to put out there in your marketing strategy.
Absolutely. And that's you create one thing one time versus a whole bunch of things.
Mhm.
You just never get to the end if you do it that way. So I think
Yeah,
that's a really smart approach to doing this. And it keeps you from having to create tons and tons of content that you don't need to recreate over time.
right. Yep.
When somebody gets out there, they get successful. Now, do you feel like, okay, just doing the podcast is enough? Or is that just part of their overall business strategy?
Yeah, definitely just part of the overall business strategy. And a lot of
Okay.
people at that level understand that using the podcast for multiple facets. So a lot of them will try to structure the show so they can invite guests on who bring a benefit
Mhm.
to their audience, but also are within their target client market. So
Okay.
that's an easy way to open the door for conversation, build that relationship, and now both parties are warmed up to each other. Then it can be the conversation or the process to get to that quote unquote sales call. But it just builds a relationship better, which is what sales should be, building a relationship. And then when there's a need, you can present it a lot simpler that way. But you decrease that sales process
Mhm.
because a lot who doesn't want to go on a podcast, talk about themselves, what they do, and share with no strings attached, really. A lot of them are using that way, but a lot it's like the top of the funnel.
Hmm.
So that's like the immense value. People can get started getting to know you on the video and audio podcast. They can hear how you present things. They can hear about your free offer. So if you have a lead magnet, podcast free value, then you're offering a free lead magnet within the podcast. They go to that, then they get in your deeper funnel and they move down the chain kind of to, oh, here's the course or here's the book, whatever it might
Mhm. That's awesome. Where do you think, because you're there at the forefront, what do you think the next 5 years of podcasting is gonna be? Because it seems like everybody's
be.
got a
Yeah.
podcast now.
Right.
It's just literally anybody who's anybody has a podcast. And I worry that it's almost an overwhelming
Mhm.
amount of people that have podcasts. What do you think is the next big thing in our
Yeah.
industry?
And we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of shows stopping, especially now that we're like a good deal past COVID. More people are having to go back to work now. So
Hmm.
there's less work from home happening. So less people have time to do that because when they get started, they don't understand the work it takes to
Yeah.
have a quality show. You can record from your iPhone and be out in your car and be at that point. But again, not most people aren't going to want to listen to something of that quality, unfortunately, for a long time, just from what we found. The next 5 years, we're going to really see those who are serious about it, those who understand how to use it as a tool to benefit not only those listening, but benefit what they're trying to do as well with their brand and business. And so we're going to see a lot of shows fall away. We're going to start seeing more high quality shows,
Hmm.
whether that be with content, with the setup, with the look of things. People are going to start taking it more serious, but we're also going to see, and it'll be interesting to see exactly how this ties in, but the rise of AI
Hmm.
within the podcasting space itself. We've actually played around with a couple recent episodes of using like an AI avatar as part of the episode. So
Hmm.
we had an AI avatar close out the show. You can definitely tell there's a difference from seeing a real person on camera versus an
Hmm.
AI. But just that as a start, we have AI doing our intro and outro now. We had an AI actually. We got a recording from an episode we were on, another show I was on, and got the okay to use it. And we actually had AI ask the questions, and I responded. So we're just like trying to play around with that just to see the feedback from people because
Yeah.
I could see, and there has been some that have been they're starting to be just straight AI shows, which is,
How lazy
I
can
mean,
you be? My God.
yeah, it is, but I see it as that's ingenious too because
Yeah.
if you can have a script wrote that you're going to read anyways,
Hmm.
and you're just running everything, and then you feed it to the AI, and it spits out a video of it reading it, and it's fairly good.
Hmm.
It takes out a lot of the ambient noises that you might have to deal with in a studio. So it's an interesting dynamic. And again, it'll be different because it's not going to be like an actual person. But in 5 years, I don't know. But
Hmm.
I could foresee it happening one in our generation where we have the hologram type
Yeah.
situation where you can listen to Joe Rogan, but he pops up in the room. And I don't know how long we are from that, but I could see that becoming the next thing almost. But yeah, it's interesting with the AI dynamic, the avatars, what people can do with AI now. You can make your own AI. So I could
Yeah.
make an AI of myself and have him talk in my voice. I've heard some influencers and higher people that I watch do that some with their content, and it's really
Hmm.
interesting. So yeah, I'm keeping my eye to that to see how that starts implementing into the
Kind of
video podcasting space.
makes me think of Tim Allen's Santa Claus 2. You
Yeah,
know, they
yeah.
replicate him.
Mhm. Yeah.
He some might say he's got an interesting sheen to him. He's somewhat
Yeah.
plastic.
Yes, yeah. But, like, and we'll
Yeah.
get to the point where that's normal.
Yeah.
Like, people will start getting content from things like that, and so then there won't be a, like, "Oh, that's AI, I can tell that," like, it'll be like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, that's AI. That's how
Yeah.
I listen." It's gonna be an interesting to see how fast that shift happens, I think.
I finished a course that I'm launching for because I'm teaching people how to do things that they can generate income from, and I just
Mhm.
created a course on how to use ChatGPT to write a
Yep.
book. And I do this as proof because I just finished a book using ChatGPT, and it's not like I'm taking everything that comes out of there and just saying, "Oh, hey, copy paste, put it in the
Right.
book." It gets you 90% of the way there, then
Huge
you
tool.
add your personal stories in and flesh it
Yep.
out a little bit. It's
Yep.
gonna give you a skeleton with some muscle on it.
Yeah.
You just have to
It's like
finish it out.
a friend of mine, Ruben Alvarez, said he posted the other day. He said, "You shouldn't be scared about AI taking your job. You should
Yeah,
be scared about the person who knows how to use AI."
taking your job.
And
That's, I
it's
think,
such
even
a
better.
tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's good and bad at anything,
Yeah.
and AI is such a strong tool that we're going to be able to do a lot more. I'm excited for it,
Oh,
but I know there are always dangers. But yeah, it'll be
I mean,
interesting what we see.
everybody thinks it's gonna be the Terminator taking over the
Yeah,
world and all this, and it's really not. I mean, yes, theoretically, could that happen? Yes, it could. But
iRobot.
yeah, iRobot, whatever it is, the only iRobot I want is my little cleaner on the floor
Yeah,
that has half-ass works half the time. I think I look back over probably the last 6 months. and the volumes and volumes of content that I've been able to create as a
Yep.
result of using ChatGPT is
Mhm.
immense. I would have never been able to complete as
Yeah.
many projects as I've completed, blog articles, books, just all of this stuff. And you can just take one piece and flip it to another piece. So you do a blog article. Okay, now write me a script for a podcast episode. Write me a 14-day email campaign that I can send out based
Yeah.
on this. Then a
Yep.
social media calendar. There's just so many
Oh, yeah.
things that you can do that before required hours and hours of that. When
Yep.
I want people to have freedom. I don't want them to, be chained to a desk trying to create content constantly.
For sure. Absolutely. You think when the printing press was invented, I'm sure people complained
Oh,
that it
yeah.
was gonna take scribes' jobs, but
Oh, yeah,
now,
which
I
it
mean,
did, you
yeah,
know?
but you gotta innovate, you gotta change, you gotta adapt, and
Yeah.
we always will. There'll always be
I mean,
something
you look at
out that
radio
for us, so
stations. Radio
mhm.
stations for years controlled everything,
Yeah.
and we're on a radio station right now. It's one
Yeah.
that I own and I have control over. I own my own
Absolutely.
TV station. I own my own newspaper. All of those things, I think the beauty of today's world is we've been able to those advancements, which have happened very quickly, have democratized a lot of the media that,
Mhm.
you know, before was controlled by very large corporations. And now, hey, anybody can be in the media at this point,
Right.
whatever
Yep.
level you want and whatever you're excited about doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an
Now,
exciting yeah. Uh, yeah, I'm all about innovation and efficiency, and
hmm?
so, yeah, it's an exciting thing.
Yeah. Let's transition into the fast five
Okay.
questions now. So you ready?
Alright.
All right.
I'm
You wake
ready.
up in the morning. Number one, wake up in the morning, business is gone. You have a laptop computer, 500 bucks in your pocket, a place to live, food and clothing. What are you going to do first?
Yeah, probably pray real quick. To be honest, no, but yeah, for sure, we'll do that. But then I would go into research mode. What
Hmm,
big problems are out there right now? What big problems are in the marketplace? And a lot of those probably, honestly, would stem around AI or technology of some sort because I lean into that anyways, just naturally with like what I'm good at. So yeah, I would just go, hey, what issues are people having in a field that is prospering, that's growing, that's
mhm,
doing well? So, what problem is out there that I could solve?
mhm,
Is it something that someone would pay for?
mhm,
Okay. Answer those 2 questions. And then what's the method of me delivering that solution? So that'd be the
mhm,
first thing I'd do. I would go and figure that out as fast as possible. I would create some sort of I would probably use ChatGPT to ask all
mhm,
these questions and then go get some data from people in like a Facebook group. And then I would create a quick checklist or something that helps people within that problem, within that market, start collecting information and then say, hey, I have the solution. We're launching this. Boom. You get a discounted rate. Boom. And then sell it before it's launched. Make sure people like it. People like it, then create it and keep going. That's probably what I
love
would
it.
do. I'd probably do all that in a day.
Yeah, yeah, and then you can create the course or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah,
And
the
then it's just
service or whatever it
pre-selling,
is.
pre-selling over a week or so. And then, yeah, getting it created and boom.
I love it. Fantastic. All right, second question, what's your biggest
Mhm.
business mistake?
Oh, myself. My ego, not starting, Elevate soon enough, like, wanting to do my own thing and not, like, seeing the signs of what was there, like, what again, not seeing the problem that was there and what I was good at
Mhm,
solving and that people were willing to pay for it. I
yeah,
didn't do that fast enough. Granted, this is my journey and it's worked how it has, and I believe it worked how it should, but I would say, yeah, just removing my ego and pride from the situation and seeing it from an outside perspective, more
yeah,
or less to say, yeah.
I love that answer. What's a good book that you'd recommend for our audience?
I have so many. So fun fact, while I'm trying to think of this, I actually got an app called Bookshelf and put
Mm,
all my books on it so I could track them. And this isn't to say I'm some scholar who's amazing, and it's just it might be actually, hey, watch out for this guy, he's weird. But I have over 810 books on my shelves.
that is awesome.
I don't know. I love the hardback books. I have
Mhm,
not read close to any of them, but I'm slowly getting my way through. But the best book out there, man, that's a good question because there are a couple. Think and Grow Rich is a great one
Mhm.
that really helped open
It's
my
such a
eyes to
good
things.
classic.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It really is. I'm working my way. So this is funny. I'm finally working my way through the School of Greatness by Lewis House. And
Okay.
if you guys know who that is, amazing. If not, he has a podcast. Been doing it since like 10 years, I think, or something like
Hmm.
that. School of Greatness podcast. And he's one of the reasons I quit my job and started a podcast and all
Hmm.
that. Like I got into his podcast somehow and learned from him and all his guests. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much that's possible out there. So he was like a big mentor just through audio for
Yeah.
me. And I never read his book. I
Hmm.
never read his book, and it's been out for a long time. And so I finally got it. And I'm reading through it, and a couple chapters in, and it's going to be a good one. I can tell. What's one I read so many good ones that it's hard
It's
to
like trying
pinpoint.
to, what's your favorite child? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, the quietest one at the time. No,
Yeah.
just yeah, I Think and Grow Rich is a classic one.
Hmm.
What one did I just read? Man, The Last Arrow. That was a good one,
Okay.
and it's by
Interesting.
Edwin. Oh, I forget his name. I think it was like Edwin McGregor or something. The
Hmm.
Last Arrow. But basically, it's about his journey with cancer
Oh,
and
interesting.
seeing life as like firing all your arrows, like never giving
Hmm.
up. And in that book was it was the fall before I actually quit my job. So end of 2019. And it was talking about burning the boats. Sometimes you have to burn the boats and go forward, either lose or
Yeah.
die, basically, he said in
Yep.
there. And you fire to the last arrow and you give everything you have. And that was a really good one. It doesn't have to do with business. It was just like
Hmm.
in general,
It's just
an
life
overall good
lessons.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, life lessons, and it just lined up perfectly with where I was at in life and what I was hearing just through my quiet time. And then come in April where I heard burn the boats. Trust me, burn the boats. And
Yeah.
so I was like, oh my gosh, this is all signs. I believe in that. And so that was a really the last
I'm
arrow was
burning.
really good.
I worked that route myself, was burn the
Hmm.
boats and
Wow.
then figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't always recommend that for
Nope.
everybody, but
I don't usually
yeah,
recommend it.
yeah,
It puts
and
a
you'll
whole
only
'nother
do it
level of
once. I
stress.
will tell you
Yes.
that. There's
Yep.
a reason why you burn the boats because you only do it once.
Yep.
And if you're not prepared, it can be a little ugly on the backside. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
been there, done that, and
Mm.
have the tattoos to show for it.
Yeah.
What's a tool that you use in your business every day that you might recommend for our audience?
Monday. It's called
Monday.
Monday. If you haven't heard of it, it's CRM, project management task tool, basically. It just keeps me and the team on track with what client stuff we have going on, what parts are done, what's upcoming, due dates, things like that.
Mm.
Every day. Every
Okay.
day. Yep.
I love
That
it.
one's for sure number one. Yeah.
Yeah. Monday. I love it.
Mhm.
Final question. What is
Okay.
your definition of freedom?
Yeah. My definition of freedom, hmm, it would be being able to set my own schedule,
Hmm.
not having someone dictate my time and the amount of money I can make. It's all on me that way,
Mhm.
which is again why I quit my job. So yeah, that would be my definition of freedom because it allows me to work from home and spend time with
Mhm.
my little guys now who, 20 months and 1 month old. So
Oof.
I get to be in the thick of it, watch them grow up,
Yeah.
and I love it. I love the chaos, even though it can be overwhelming sometimes. I love being able to be here, even though I'm like in my office, just go walk out there and see them and be able to raise them here and not have to have someone else do it. And
Mhm.
yeah, just be able to build something that's going to outlive me and give them freedom,
Yeah.
for generations to come is the
I
hope.
lo
My definition of freedom is just being able to control my time, my actions, and be able to basically not have a limit on what I can do and create money wise.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. That is the true definition of freedom, man.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Yeah, the best way probably reach out to me on Instagram. I still manage my own
Okay.
DMs there at chris.t.anderson. Again, feel free if you have any questions on video podcasting, business, life, whatever. I love talking to people. That's why I
Hmm.
started a podcast. I'll answer your questions best I can, direct you to who can answer them if I can't. And yeah, I just love building new relationships and meeting new people. So reach out there. Always open.
We'll put that information down in the show notes, folks. So
Great.
wherever you're watching or listening to this, make sure you check out the show notes and Chris's information in there and certainly reach out to him. He opened that up for you, so make sure you reach out. Thanks for being on, Chris. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing what all happens with your media company.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks, man. Folks, we do the show twice a week, or Tuesdays and Thursdays. We are also with our companion YouTube site. So we're on all the major podcast channels, but with our companion YouTube site, we're putting up a ton of information right now in anticipation of the Freedom Day book coming out in about 3 to 4 weeks. So make sure that you are subscribed to all of our channels so you're getting all the content as we put it out, and you're getting yourself connected for an offer when the book comes out of a very discounted rate for our listeners. So make sure that you keep connected wherever we're at so you don't miss a show and don't miss an offer. Thanks a lot. And we will see you guys back here the very next time.